Hey guys, welcome to the 2 a.m. pipe on the patio. Today I'm smoking my Morgan Bones. Beautiful little pipe. And in it I'm smoking some Ennerdale Flake from Gawith and Hoggarth. One of my favorite blends. Today I am hurting all over. I spent about 5 hours yesterday doing maintenance on my John Deere, and bought some new blades for it. So I had to take off the deck, and which is fairly easy on the John Deere, and but man, that deck is heavy, and so got everything taken off and greased everything up and used some ballistol. If you're not familiar with ballistol is primarily used by guys for cleaning guns. And if you're not using it on your guns, you're using the wrong stuff. Ballistol is absolutely amazing. It cleans, lubricates, does it all in one can, and it's amazing stuff. But on the John Deere, it's got like little pull knobs that you pull out to release from the deck, and they were pretty tough to pull out on this thing, so I brought out the ballistol and I sprayed those down because they got springs in them, and they hadn't been oiled or greased or anything in a long time, so I sprayed them down with ballistol. Man, they were like just butter afterwards. So I oiled, ballistoled all the parts on it that were for taking the deck off and on, just to make it easier in the future, and for putting it back on. So got everything all done, took it off, tipped it up so I could get to the blades, got my impact wrench out, and one of the heads had been just stripped, which is probably why the blades hadn't been changed in a while, because they were just tattered. When I was mowing with it last time, I was having to mow twice in some places because it just wasn't cutting very well. So I got under there and looked, and the blades were just chipped, and one blade was so bad that the edge of it looked like the edge of this Zippo. It looked like I was cutting with a marble. So I went down and got new blades, but that blade had the stripped head on it, so I figured that's probably why, because they couldn't get the blade off. So I was working on that bolt, and I tried get a metric bolt socket on there. Nothing would work, and I filed the edges of the bolt, see if I could get something to bite on it. Nothing was working. So I got all my different wrenches out. I had all my different size crescents and pipe wrenches. Nothing was budging it. So I had this really big slip joint wrench. It was a pretty good size wrench. I brought that out and put it on it. I was muscling that thing as best I could. That was my last hope. And I kept moving it, kept, just muscling it, moving it in different angles. And pretty soon, sure enough, it just started to move. And I just wanted to make sure I didn't break the head off. That was my biggest fear, was breaking the head of the bolt off. Sure enough, it just started to move, and so I was just gently kind of just, easing it to make sure it wasn't twisting the head off. And it came loose, and I got it out. So I switched the blades, put the new blades on, put them back on, got everything, tightened it all back on, and then went to put the deck back on. And I couldn't get there's a thing called a mule drive on a John Deere, which connects the engine, a belt that connects the engine to the deck, a belt that goes from the engine to the deck. And I couldn't get it to connect back. I could get the belt to connect, but there's these hangers that hangs the deck to the mule drive, and I couldn't get it to connect. And I spent a good 2 hours trying to figure out why this wasn't connected back up. So I took the deck back off, reconnected it just to make sure I didn't have something wrong, and went in and watched the video on how to reconnect the deck again, and I'd done everything right. But I'm about an inch short on these hangers. There's a set of hangers that comes from the mule drive that's supposed to connect to the front of the deck, and I'm about that short. They aren't, just not connecting. I'm just stumped, completely stumped. It was connected when I took it apart. It should just connect right back up. I didn't change anything. I didn't, So I'm sitting out there and I'm going through it and I'm going over it and over it. Sitting there looking at it, contemplating it. I come back in the house for 15 minutes and just, think it over in my head, just what I usually do when I have a problem. I'll get away from it and come in and just think about it. Then I go back out and look at it some more. So I've taken the deck off, put it back on, taken it off, put it back on. I've got a little stool out there that I'm sitting on. I'm just looking at the deck. And I notice the back of the deck's about that far off the ground, and the front of the deck is on the ground. And I'm thinking, I bet I gotta lift that front of the deck up that far off the ground. So sure enough, I lift the deck up off the ground and everything just pops right into place. And I'll tell you, those John Deere decks are heavy sons of guns. The build quality of those things are amazing. It's an old mower. It's probably from the early mid 80s. I haven't actually dated it yet, but I'm thinking it's mid 80s. It is a tank. The deck is twice as heavy as the deck on my Craftsman was. And every muscle in my body hurts today. Everything. I woke up today without a headache, and that's the only part of my body that is not hurting right now. My hands hurt, my shoulders, my forearms, my thighs, my everything hurts. I'm just hurting everywhere. My entire body hurts today. You know, you get under those mowers and you're lifting with one hand and you're reaching under with another hand and you're pulling things and you're just doing things you're not used to doing in weird positions, and your muscles are telling you, oh man, you are just freaking out of shape. I need to get under there and do that like once a week and get back in shape. Boy, I'm sore. I am so sore. So I was going to get out and mow the front yard today, the meadow. I'm too dang sore, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. That meadow's it's a rough mow. There's a lot of ruts and you got to ride over some roots and stuff, and it just that one messes my back up mowing down there. It's not as bad on the John Deere, but I'm just sore today. I'm just so sore. So I'm taking it easy today. Me and the Tylenol. Fall has hit here. The oak tree is shedding its leaves, as you can see back here in the backyard. A lot of these things here are mulched up leaves from when I mowed the backyard. I'll put a video of me mowing back here. And I love that mower. I was out here mowing and McKinley came out in the back. She just took a video of me mowing. She goes, "You look like you were having some fun out here." So I knew she was going to be videoed. When I was coming by, I knew she was going to be videoed, so I put my feet up, put my head on my hat. She just was shaking her head. But the leaves off that tree seem to, they blow onto this patio. They seem to just, as they fall, the winds here just blow them onto this patio. And so I kind of get the blower out and I blow them out onto the grass right here. So when I'm mowing, it just shoots them out back onto the grass. And you can see in that video, it was just shooting the leaves back out onto the grass. And but for some reason, the way the wind blows here, it blows all the leaves onto this patio here. And we used to have a table sitting right over there, and it would just, all the leaves, it swirls here, and all the leaves would just swirl under that table. They would all just gather under that table. Without that table here, they're just kind of all over this patio right now, which I like a lot more. It's easier to clean them up when they're just all over the patio and not in this big pile under the the table. They get wrapped up under the table leaves. It was hard to get them out of there. Under the table legs, rather, table leaves. It's cooling off a little bit here. It's about 73 right now. It's been getting cold at night, which I thoroughly love. Planning on going down on this hill behind here and chopping down a bunch of the we have some invasive trees here called trees of heaven, and they're just totally invasive, and they're just taking over Salem, and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of them. And the problem with them is if you cut one down, the root system goes out and 10 more grow up. So you have to poison them. And I guess they came from Asia, and they're just terrible trees that just take over. And we've got a bunch of them on this back hill, so I got to go down there, and the best way to do it is you cut a limb, and we've got these little plastic vials. When you fill the vial with this poison, and you put the vial on the limb, like say this is the limb, you put the vial over it and you fill the vial up with poison, and it sucks the poison down into this tree, and it kills the tree. It doesn't kill anything around it, doesn't kill any of the natural vegetation. It only kills that tree, and it doesn't populate out. So we got a bunch of those vials, and we got some of the poison that you're supposed to use on them. So I'm going to go down and start doing that down in the back here, because we got a bunch of them. We got about 10 of them right now. So we're going to try and get them while they're fairly young. See if we can control that, keep it from, because they just, I mean, they go crazy, just take over. And they just kill everything else around them. They kill all the other trees around them. And those lantern flies that are around are drawn to them, and they mate in them. So we're trying to keep the lantern flies out of Virginia as best we can. So those lantern moths, or lantern fly moths, or whatever they're called, which kill trees. So I'm gonna try and take care of that. And while I'm down there, I'm going to trim up some of the trees that are growing up, taking my view. Cut those back. And talking to the neighbor next door, and she and her husband were saying that previous owners of the house would go down there every year or two and cut down the trees. On the hill, not the trees, but the growth that was coming up down there, which are more weedy than anything, just to keep the view. So I need to start doing that. I've been doing it up here near the top, but this stuff here just grows so fast. And you just take that down to the ground. It's just weeds, and I need to take it down to the ground and kill it. Maybe I'll do that same poison stuff there, because it's thorny, and it's just thorny weed stuff, and a lot of it is invasive stuff. My wife goes out with her little app, and she's like, okay, this is invasive, this is invasive, this is invasive, we need to get rid of all of that stuff. Anything that's, natural to the area she wants to keep, but just cut it back. Anything that's invasive, she's like, get it out of here. Anyway, that's what's been going on here. So we're I think I told you guys about the deer that had the broken leg, the bad leg that looked like it was rotting off, and it just looked like it was just black. It was all black and just rotting. She's out here, and she has got a couple of babies. Doing really well. I mean, still the leg is crippled, but it's healed, and she's out here in our front yard every night, and still can't use the leg, but it's healed up. It's looking normal, like a normal leg, just not usable. She's got a couple of babies, and I honestly thought that leg would have fallen off. It looked so bad. But she seems to be doing well. She's out here getting... McKinley's been throwing out peanuts to the deer at night. And man, they love peanuts. She gets unsalted raw peanuts and just throws them out to the deer. Man, they love those things. And they come up every evening about 7 o'clock, like clockwork, right up to our front door, waiting for their peanuts. And every morning, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, they're out at the front door, just before McKinley goes to work, just waiting for her to throw them peanuts. renter. She was telling me, she goes, I came out the other morning and there was a 10-point buck just standing outside my door. And she's a hunter. She goes, man, I wish I had my rifle. She goes, it was a beauty. Her grandparents came to visit the other day, this past weekend. Or I think it was her mom and her grandparents. And they were just standing out taking pictures. All the deer were laying out in the meadow out in the front here. They were just standing out there taking pictures, and it was neat. And I was talking to her grandfather, and he was like, yeah, we're all hunters. He goes, well, this is just beautiful. Yeah, I used to hunt in my younger days. I said, boy, this is just heaven here. This is just, having them come up here and just, this is like just seeing them and watching them. And I said, this is just neat. I haven't been hunting in 35 years probably since I last hunted. I'll catch you guys later. I got 26 minutes here. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Love you guys.